Thank you, Mr. Chairman, for holding today's hearing as members of this committee continue to work on crafting a national consumer data privacy bill. It is my hope that we can ultimately work together on a bipartisan basis to produce legislation that puts consumers' interests first while still allowing the private sector to innovate and grow the economy. I think all of us understand, or at least should, that only a bipartisan proposal has a chance of clearing the Senate and becoming law. And in my view, that bipartisan outcome must include strong consumer protections while also avoiding the regulatory patchwork that is beginning to emerge at the state level. I remain committed to working with the chairman, the ranking member, and our colleagues on both sides of the aisle to find a consensus solution. Since we started privacy discussions last Congress, I've said that consumers are entitled to clear and concise explanations of how the services they use are collecting and using their data. In one specific area where I believe consumers deserve more transparency and control is with respect to how Internet platforms use artificial intelligence and opaque algorithms to make inferences from the reams of data collected about all of us that too often results in users being caught in a so-called filter bubble. The filter bubble is essentially the unique universe of information generated on an Internet platform for each user. Many users are unaware of the filter bubble. That's why I've introduced the bipartisan Filter Bubble Transparency Act, which would give individuals a greater understanding of how Internet platforms use algorithms to increase user engagement. It would also give consumers the option to engage with a platform without being manipulated by opaque algorithms powered by the user's own personal data. And I'm proud to have Senators Blumenthal, Moran, Blackburn, and Warner as co-sponsors of this bill. At the same time, whether it's algorithm transparency or privacy, I understand that bills touching on highly technical issues can have potentially unintended consequences. So I welcome constructive feedback on this bill and the committee's efforts more generally. I'd like to ask, if I might, a couple of questions relating to transparency on Internet platforms as well as the larger privacy debate. And the question for each of you is regarding the Filter Bubble Transparency Act. It's more of a general question, but do you agree that it's appropriate to give consumers more information and choice about how sophisticated algorithms and artificial intelligence are often selecting what the consumer sees on Internet platforms? And I'd just like if you could quickly comment on that, Ms. Brill.
We think it's a very important issue. We're very grateful that you've raised it, and we look forward to discussing it with you further, how this could be implemented.
Okay, thanks.
Certainly in favor of giving consumers more transparency about how their data is used and how that shapes what they see.
Okay. Ms. Moy.
I absolutely think so. I think, many platforms optimize for engagement, and that optimization can have unintended consequences. One of those, certainly, as you mentioned, is the filter bubble, which drives political polarization. We also see this driving the spread of misinformation and disinformation and also discriminatory advertising. And for all of those reasons, I think we need action on this issue.
Yes, Senator, we are supportive of the intent of the bill.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, we support the more transparency and accountability for how AI is used.
Okay. Ms. Brill and Ms. O'Connor, aside from California, at least a dozen other states are in the process of enacting consumer data privacy laws. What impact would a diversity of state privacy laws have on your respective companies? And then as a follow-up to that, apart from the compliance challenges for companies, are there concrete benefits for consumers to having a common national standard, assuming that it's robust?
Thank you for that question. Microsoft believes that we do need robust privacy laws in the United States, including laws that will be protective of consumers and provide greater consumer rights, as well as greater responsibilities on companies. To the extent that states are enacting laws, they are, I believe, spurring a great conversation in the United States about the need for more privacy protection. So we applaud what the states are doing. Having said that, at some point in time, if we do have 50 state laws that start to conflict, it might be one thing for a company like Microsoft to be able to comply with it, but many, many of our customers and millions of other companies might have much more difficulty. So conflicting state laws could end up being problematic down the road. But we do applaud the states for the work that they're doing because we so desperately need privacy legislation in this country.
Thank you, Senator. I would certainly echo what has already been said and simply note that a complexity of state law can have a chilling effect on the consumer's comfort level with a company with which they are doing business. They can have greater certainty and clarity and understand the transactions that they're entering into with a single federal standard. Our customers shop across state lines, not only on the internet, but in the physical world as well, and we want them to be protected wherever they shop.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Time's